I miss my wife. I miss my best friend every night. I miss my...
Hey everyone, welcome to the Manthology Show. Manhood, let's find it together. In today's episode, humans are omnivores, mobile gaming, tip of the week, and... Excuse me, I just burped right in the middle of that, but I'm going to keep going like nothing happened. Wilson, were you okay? He's giving me the nod. So we're also discussing Explain This Tweet, a new segment we're excited to debut on this here episode 8 of the Manthology Show. I'm Blake. Joining me is Josh and Derek. Fellas, welcome to the show.
Blake, it is fitting that you would burp at the top of the show, and perhaps poetic, as we are about to burp out some prime podcasting content for our lovely listeners. Gentlemen, how are you?
This guy, Josh.
I would like to point out, from a budget standpoint, 3/4 of the budget for this show goes to a staff of writers.
Derek's intro.
And they're doing a hell of a job, too, by the way.
Yeah. So as we have the running joke of this Manthology Show is it is partially a food podcast. And I start and begin this episode with, two things we need to discuss here. So we all know there's this growing, awareness of our special dietary needs, okay? It's kind of a big deal now in the last 5 maybe even 10, but probably more 5 years, special dietary needs. Vegans are on the rise, or seemingly vegetarians. People can't eat this, that, or the other, gluten-free. It's gotten pretty crazy. So there was this report in Time magazine that came out recently that it was like a gentle reminder that, hey, humans are omnivores. I don't know, if you heard, but it was kind of a funny way of being Captain Obvious that we are genetically designed to eat mostly plants, but we are supposed to have meat, fish, and eggs if we want our bodies to operate at top performance. So obviously Captain Obvious going on here. Josh, Derek, what do you think about this?
I think there's too much research going into certain areas.
And this is one of them.
Yeah. No,
I like that Josh is anti-research. I like that.
I do too.
I'm for research, but I don't need someone to tell me that we need to eat healthy and eat a balanced diet. Yeah, you nailed it. It's very Captain Obvious. But.
Yeah. Okay, but it seems like research does that very often. And not that that's I don't think it's a bad thing, because I'm a lover of research and good data and intelligence. But isn't that just the consequence of observing and studying our world? Is you're going to come up with Captain Obvious remarks that, oh, by the way, humans are omnivores. Yes, you are. The other thing that plays into that and creates that is that we, as a society now, we create these problems that aren't real.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'm not going to throw stones, but I am. Gluten allergies, for example, completely made up. I don't believe in them at all.
Well, no, wait. Isn't there? See, the science says there's 1% of the world is, in fact, allergic to gluten, but 20% are claiming to be. So I get that. There is maybe a 1% of people that really do have gluten allergies. Then the rest of these people just sort of take up cause because they're bored. Right. Okay.
And because of that, that's part of why we get research and studies that come out with stuff like this.
That is saying, oh, by the way, we are. Yeah. Derek, what are your thoughts?
I think Josh is onto something there. I think as a society, we don't have to. It's funny because people talk about how the world's a horrible place right now. It's all you ever hear. When in fact, it's actually the greatest it's ever been. We're living longer than we've ever lived. We don't have to struggle for the things we used to struggle for. Our problems are problems of convenience now. So what we do is we make up problems that we deem important. It seems like, when you're kind of coddled and safe, you make up threats. You make up things that make life more exciting, I guess. And the other thing is, it's this new cultural thing, especially with younger people. Everyone's this delicate flower that's unique. Everyone's a special snowflake. Like we're in the political season now. Everyone's an independent. Oh, I'm an independent. But they voted one party their entire life. But they don't want to be categorized because they're very special. You can't categorize my beliefs. They're so unique and different. When in fact, you're just like every other idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Derek, I completely agree, and specifically, the world is a better place, and if you look at the data, it's overwhelmingly showing that. So, for example, like you guys know helicopter parenting, right? We familiar with this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's affecting a lot of our age, parents, where you're hovering around your kids because you're watching 24-hour news that only shows the world is a horrible place, and so you start internalizing that message, thinking that the world is a horrible place. Oh, by the way, it's 10 times safer than even when us we're young whippersnappers running around, and our parents actually let us run around. So if there should be a time where we shouldn't be helicopter parents, it's now. So I completely agree with that, and how we're probably just inventing issues to keep we're making it more complicated than it should be.
People got too much time on their hands. That's
really?
what it comes.
No, yeah.
I mean, some people just have too much time on their hands and they don't do anything productive with it, and so they just create these problems that aren't really there. And then you get enough people to do it, and then now it's a cause, and now this cause has to have some meaning behind it, and then it becomes a movement. People latch onto it.
Inject meaning, yeah. Well, okay.
Although one thing I will say though is that it in this age of information, we have more information than ever before. It's actually harder to discern what is real.
Yeah.
And I'll see on Twitter all the time people posting, here's an article that has scientific proof that people shouldn't be eating meat. And I read it and I go, oh, holy, maybe I shouldn't be eating meat. And then like the very next day there's someone sorry, vegans, but here's proof that we're omnivores. And it's like scientific data that proves we should be eating meat. So even though like we've got this abundance of information, it kind of clouds what is or isn't. So I just go by the rule. I eat what I like to eat. And I think the world would be a better place if everyone stopped. You're not going to convert anybody.
No.
Like if I like steak, I'm not going to feel bad that a cow died for it.
Yeah.
You're not going to convert anybody to your cause. So just do your cause and do your thing. You don't need to create an army of vegans. It's,
I completely agree. Everything in moderation and balance, right?
Yeah.
Just use common sense, and then don't try to convert everybody, and then don't be disrespectful. Everybody just stay in their lane. We'll be fine.
Stay in your lane.
But Derek, though too, like as a journalist, it goes back to consider the source. So, research can construe and call out only certain things that they want to because they have an agenda. So heaven forbid there are researchers that have an agenda. Right. So then they paint the data, and you also got to consider the source. So I'm cool with I think it's good that we have this plentiful amount of research. Because for me, I really want to get better. I want to know. So I want to know those answers like, am I eating too much meat? No. If I am, and if the science is saying, hey, my body operates better on mostly plants, but don't forget the meat. I mean, case in point where you're when I finally kind of started getting a handle, or I fell in love with veggies, internet, okay, there. I said it several years ago. I hate them forever, and I actually enjoy them now. I overcorrected and was eating too many vegetables, and my annual checkup, my doctor's like, hey, your red blood cells are down. You should probably eat a steak or two more. And I'm like, oh, great. I got an excuse. And my doctor just prescribed more steak in my life. And I was excited about it. So I'm cool with that kind of, that information because I want to get better. But, yeah, consider the source. Like, if it's coming from John on Facebook, who the hell's John on Facebook about what we should be eating? So.
Yeah.
Oh, the steak industry says that plants are evil. Huh.
What do you know?
Huh? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, see, that's the caveat with more information, though, is that journalism is dead. And, you'll look at a lot of these articles and you'll click the author's name. And here's an article I wrote about scientific proof we shouldn't be eating meat. And then it says about the author. This author has written 5 books about he's a vegan activist and all this. Everyone has their agenda. Objectivity is dead. No one cares about truth or fact. They care about their position. Yeah. And so it's very, very difficult to find information that's reliable, particularly on the internet. I mean, all you have to do is go on Facebook or go to a family picnic now that our parents are on Facebook, and the things that they say, oh, did you hear this? It's like, oh, God, where did you hear that? Or I saw it on Facebook, so it must
be true. Gotta be true.
So it's very, information is good, provided the quality is good.
Yeah, consider the source. Josh,
Yeah.
we got a talking point this week.
We do.
Yeah, tell us what we're going to be discussing today.
Listener Dan, good old Dan, tweeted at us the other day, and he said, living in a society of bearded men in flannel who can tell you where to find gluten-free tacos, but not how to change a tire.
That is
Very well said.
That is the essence of this show. We haven't been able to articulate what this show is about, and we're working on that, but that is the essence.
Yeah, Dan really hit the pulse right there.
Derek, what are your thoughts on Dan's remark?
It's so perfect. Everything about it is just so perfectly constructed. I feel like manliness has really changed, and like Josh said, I feel like that's kind of the essence of what we're getting at here with a lot of our topics. Is we grew up with an idea of what men are and what men should be doing that is totally no longer applicable. In fact, it's often viewed in a negative light. Changing tires and labor and all these things that we used to sort of hold as like this. These are things men do. It's like now you're growing beards, but only because it's the thing to do. And you're eating tacos, but you're making 18 different requests before you place your order. It's yeah.
So is it okay? But is part? I mean, my theory. I'll pass this off with you guys. If you don't like it, just push it back. Okay, send it back. So, is it that we're literally becoming a more white collar society where computers and machines are picking up the blue collar slack? So, ironically, the computers are becoming the blue collar manliness, and we're becoming this, information society where we don't have to work. I mean, we get paid to do podcasts like this and have a YouTube channel. It's crazy. So I think I would not even blame, but I think that's, like you said earlier, Josh, we have too much time on our hands, so we start doing funny stuff like this where we're concerned with our flannel shirts and our beards and gluten-free tacos, but we don't need to know how to change a tire so much anymore because literally our tires are lasting a heck of a lot longer. Gentlemen, I have never had a flat tire in over 20 years of driving. There, I said it. I don't know if that's incredible luck, but I really haven't. I've had a tire that's deflated, and I wheeled in, and the guy fixed it, and that's it. So,
kudos to the Utah Department of Transportation. What are you driving?
Good roads you got out there.
You're driving on clouds out there, Blake.
How many flat tires have you two experienced?
Freaking Mario Kart.
I don't know. I've had a couple, I guess. I mean,
okay, but that's still pretty good, right? Our grandpas used to change 2 a year. You see what I'm saying? Like it can't be near as much as it used to be.
They did it for fun, though, Blake. They would change the tire that wasn't even flat just to see how quickly they could do it.
Oh, like Christmas story. Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah.
Right. They actually looked forward to it. I like the old, like you said, the old man in A Christmas Story. He could have avoided the pothole, but he hit it just to make things interesting and see if he could beat his personal record.
So, Derek,
we're a bunch of pansy asses. What are you going to say?
Derek, how many flat tires have you had?
I don't know, a handful over the years. But there's always something really. It feels good changing a tire. There's something about getting my hands dirty and jacking up that car. I spit when I'm doing this, even though I don't technically need to. And I make sure that. I like to make sure that I'm changing that tire in a spot where people are going to see me changing that tire.
Get out there. You're going to want that visibility.
That's right. If I have to pull over at like a store where moms happen to shop a lot, that's just a bonus. If there's some hot moms walking into Joann Fabric and I happen to be changing a tire, busting out of my shirt, spitting on the side of the road, hey, listen.
Excuse me, ladies, coming through.
Just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. No, but there's something about that I feel like maybe a lot of men are trying to overcorrect, with the beard thing and the jack.
Overcorrecting. Yeah, that's
the lumberjack look. They're trying to compensate for the fact that they can't change a tire and that they've never chopped down a tree or had to cut wood to, the manly things aren't as necessary anymore. So we dress ourselves up.
Yeah, they're not as necessary, but I think they are still good for the soul. I mean, if you get outside and work some sort of physical labor, do something with your hands, it's good. Like last week, I sanded our decks because we're gonna stain them, and it was good. It sucked, but it feels good to get out there and do productive stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do we take pleasure working with our hands, even though we're becoming more informational workers?
You know what it is?
Back to some primal caveman DNA, probably.
I think, Blake, it's what you and I have talked about before, how everything we've ever done in our professional lives doesn't exist. Like everything.
Zeros and ones, baby.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh,
you could work so hard on something and it's just a web page. And I think even we know that there's something kind of lame about that. Whereas if I go, like Josh sanded his deck, when he's done with that work, first off, he sweated, he did it himself. He sees there was more of a physical effort, which you feel, I think, more than the mental effort.
Yeah.
But then you also have something you can look at and you can see the fruits of your work.
Exactly.
And there's rewards to that.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and we, a little side note for the listeners, some inside baseball talk here. When we were creating this show, that was an issue that Derek and I talked about. That Derek and I have both made a living primarily online. Josh too, but Derek and I are content creators. We write stories, and I became a writer 11 years ago, and two of the websites, the first paying websites I worked for, one was Joystick, which was Engadget's gaming blog, and Engadget's still around. But Joystick went the way of the dodo because all these YouTube vloggers are, or that's where most of the interest is. And then another tech site called, it's slipping my mind. It was this GigaOhm was a technology site. Both of them died in the same month earlier this year, and I had this moment of like. And the GigaOhm stuff's completely gone. The server's off. I have no archives on my work. I just ignorantly, naively thought, I'll publish it to the internet and it'll just stay there forever. If power ever goes out or a plug gets unplugged, it's gone, baby. My Colosseum, even though I spend as much time on some of this stuff as the Romans did the Colosseum, it's gone. And that was like a really heavy realization to consider.
Yeah.
Deep stuff.
Deep,
heavy. So yeah, that's it is. It's so maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is, Derek. That if we can work with our hands and see physical artifacts, we just kind of innately feel that we're leaving our mark more than ones and zeros.
Well, yeah, and also I think the physical nature of doing that stuff, anything that you do, it's physical. You get the blood going, you get some endorphins released, you just feel good. I think that's part of why you feel good afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, moving on, gentlemen. Great topic, by the way. Thanks again, Dan. Derek, I'm just going to let you open this next segment up. I just want to know, what's on your mind.
Well, you brought up Joystick, and I think that transitions pretty well into this question. What is the deal with mobile gaming?
I'm
telling you, Terry.
Okay. What's the context of this question, Derek? Give us the background.
So I've made my living in video games, and I lost that job in December. So it's been a good 6-7 months since I've worked in video games, and coincidentally, I haven't played a video game in 6 to 7 months. Now, I think maybe that my circumstance is a little different. When you're playing them 5 days a week, all day at work, you burn out maybe more quickly than one otherwise would.
Right.
But what I've noticed is that I am still playing video games, though. I'm playing mobile games. And I think it's interesting. I had a friend over the other day who was making fun of mobile games. And he's sort of a more hardcore gamer, and he's doing the whole hardcore gamer shtick where mobile games are
inferior.
There's
You'll graduate later.
The processing power pales in comparison to the PS3.
Oh boy!
So he's doing that whole shtick, and I'm thinking to myself, but they're the only ones that I really feel like playing right now. So I'm just wondering if you guys in your gaming diet, has it transitioned to mobile in the way mine has? Is this a young versus old thing? I don't know what's happening here.
Josh?
A little bit. I still like the console stuff just because that's where some of my favorite titles are. But I am excited to see, like what Nintendo is going to do next year. And, they've sort of stuck their toe in this year recently. So I am excited to see where that sort of goes. But I don't play much on mobile devices yet.
Yeah, Derek, with you, I'm not even with you where I feel like I try to pick up a mobile game just to kind of connect with that. Let me stop you. So, gaming was, I will use the word was a huge part of my life from 6 upwards, maybe to maybe my late 20s or 30s. I mean, it was a huge hobby of mine that I nurtured and loved and had so many fun experiences. It took me to places. It was a large part of my work. I mean, again, that was when I got into writing as a video game writer. And
and a lot of our listeners who know me may not know this, that Blake is the reason I got into video. Blake gave me my first job writing about video games.
Well, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We'll tell that story later, but it is true. It's a true story. So Derek got into writing that way as well. But over the last several years, I don't play hardly any games. I mean, sometimes I'll fire up. Like my kids like Zelda, so we'll fire that up every now and then, or I'll try like the latest Uncharted. But I'll try to I'll hear word of a hot mobile game and I'll download it. But so for example, one game I am playing right now is called One Tap Tennis, so that's pretty fun. But it's very. I have gone from playing games, probably several hours a week to nothing to 15 minutes, and I don't know why that is. I mean, I think just kind of different seasons in life, you kind of through different things, and maybe I'll go back to that. I certainly don't rule it out because it was such a huge part that I like connecting. It's very nostalgic for me, and I do follow it. Like I want to know what people are doing or what exciting developments. But for me, maybe it's like I really feel like at least the experiences they've coded up for us, they're kind of the same. And so I feel like there's not a lot of uncharted territory or, new ground that's being covered.
Yeah.
And I think I would argue, I've given this some thought, and I think part of the reason that we're not playing console games as much, one, like you said, it's the period of your life. You actually have things to do. Unlike in college when, I have some free time, I'll play Zelda or whatever. Now your life changes, and some people that are younger may not get that yet. It may sound crazy, but eventually you'll get to a point where you don't want to spend 3 hours of free time just playing Zelda or whatever.
Which is where mobile gaming fits in, right, Derek? That it's quick hit bite-sized stuff that, by the way, the NES used to be like too, because you could throw on the cartridge, put in the passcode, and bam, you're off. You don't have to do...
I think mobile gaming is the true successor to what gaming used to be. People act like true gaming is the console stuff and the mobiles are just silly, but I actually think it's the other way around. I think mobile gaming has a lot more in common with the spirit of the NES than, and certainly like the Atari and consoles like that, than whatever is being sold as console gaming these days. This bloated Hollywood wannabe CGI thing that requires you to basically drop everything in your life and devote yourself to. Or you could just pop in the new Pac-Man mobile game that is almost exactly what Pac-Man was 30, 40 years ago. So, I don't know. I feel like mobile gaming, I think we talked about this on an earlier show, that it used to be gaming was an escape from responsibility, but now gaming is a responsibility. But I feel like mobile gaming is still...
It can be it's burdensome to sit through an hour of a cutscene while I'm kind of like, hey, come on, can I start moving the joystick now? Can I start...
I guess I'll watch a movie now.
Yeah, and a not very good one at that, so...
It's like you're expected to be there for the video game, whereas mobile gaming is still, hey, I'm here for you whenever you have 15 minutes that you need to kill waiting for plus.
Sometimes I want to lean in and ask the cutscene, hey, can I play now? Can I have the controller?
No.
Anyway, you know what? We need to save some of this though, because I do. The big gaming's big events coming up in a week or two, and so we'll see if any new developments come from that E3, the Electronic Gaming Expo, and we'll bring it up in an upcoming podcast. We'll react to that show in an upcoming episode to kind of see where things are heading. For a new segment I want to toy with on this show is to kind of call out cool crap or cool tips that we encounter, and I came across one that I'm calling this the tip of the week this week, and it's just a tip, just one. I'm not gonna label it as something bigger than it really is. It's no computer. I won't even say the word. It's just a tip. Okay, a pro tip.
Just a tip.
Okay, so are there any Karate Kid fans in the room?
Show of hands. Anyone?
I'm raising both my hands. Derek, do you have your hand up? Or Josh, do you have your hand up?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Derek's not having his hand up. Nelson's just shaking his head.
I was hoping you'd not call on me. I've not seen the Karate Kid.
Wow.
Is that a joke?
No, I've not seen. Are you
serious?
Okay.
I'm dead serious. I've never seen the Karate Kid.
Gosh,
hang on.
We got to hit pause
derailed here.
Yeah, I'm feeling disoriented right now, Derek.
Wow. Blood sugar's low, but I feel like this is. You really haven't seen the Karate Kid?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you don't apologize. There's no right or wrong.
There's a little wrong. I mean,
there's a little wrong. Josh, there's a little wrong. Fair enough. I was trying to be politically correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is, because that was a movie of my childhood, and I introduced my children to it, and they love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. And so anyway, it's been a lot of fun. But however, so this week's tip is a resurfacing of Mr. Miyagi's wise counsel to Daniel's son. When, I don't know if you remember the scene, it's from the second one, Josh, where Daniel pulls up in one of Mr. Miyagi's convertibles that he gifted him for washing 18,000 times, or however many times it was. Right. There's smoke coming, it's wrecked.
Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert, Derek.
There's smoke. Josh, come on. I'm telling a story here. He pulls in. He's all frazzled. He just came home from prom. His girl that he picked up in the first movie dumped him. I mean, it's just a bad day. He's drinking a carton of milk, Anchorman style, before Anchorman even did it in San Diego heat. So they're Anchorman. So, and he's just having a hard time, and Mr. Miyagi pulls him aside. He's like, "Hey, Daniel, just breathe." And he starts this breathing exercise where he inhales very slow, and then he pushes his hands out while he exhales really slow, and then he inhales and exhales. And that sounds really dumb, but I read a story about when things are feeling stressed, or if you need to get to sleep, you just take these deep breaths through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And I've been doing it lately because fellas, a little admission here. I kind of have a hard time going to sleep sometimes. I'm so excited about what's going on. I got things, on my mind. I'm all not even stressed, just my mind starts racing. And so I've been doing breathing techniques, specifically the 4-7-8 rule, which is where you inhale in your nose for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8. Dudes, it works. I'm like sleeping like a baby. I'm calming down. So little Mr. Miyagi tip of the week there. Remember to breathe if things are getting hairy.
Wait, you bought him a car?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you. This goes back to the first movie, but yeah. But he gifted him a car. Mr. Miyagi, rich with old automobiles, gave young Daniel's son.
He's the Karate Kid, right?
He's a karate teenager.
He's karate teenager. Karate teenager is better.
You guys are making it sound like he's the karate middle-aged dad or something. Get him a Cavalier.
Derek, this is back when kids.
Derek, how have you not seen this? This is blowing my mind.
Derek, this is when kids still valued a driver's license in cars. Now we have smartphones to take us where we want to go. Back then, we did want cars. And Daniel's son was no exception to that rule.
You know what's funny about that? You're right. cars have become music and that kids don't actually need it anymore. They just use other people's.
Yeah, isn't that weird? I've got cousins that are like 16 and they don't have their license and they have no desire, no interest in getting it. I'm like, what is wrong with you kids? It's so crazy, man. Makes me so old.
Well, okay, I'm with you because I'm from that generation where the car was the defining moment of liberation as an adolescent. So,
Yeah.
But that has shifted to the phone. I mean, that is ultimate liberation and expression and connection for them. Like, I get it. Like, I think there's going to be consequences if you're not going to be driving out seeing folks, I think, but that's how they view it.
Listen, I really don't want to sound crotchety and old and angry on this show. I do my best not to do so. However, I got news for all you freaking millennials out there who think a phone is cooler than a car. There is nothing that my iPhone does that is even in the same ballpark of cool as my 1997 Dodge Intrepid. All right? You can't. I got news for you. You're not going to take a girl home in the back seat of your iPhone, okay? You're not going to go to the drive-in in your iPhone. You're not going to. This is unbelievable. This is everything that bothers me about millennials. And I am one.
You are a millennial, yeah. Well, Derek, I will say, in their defense, Uber's pretty damn cool. I mean, it's awesome.
Listen, Uber's great, but it doesn't have to, It
is great, but you kids need to get your damn licenses.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand. Like, that's such a defining moment as you grow up.
No, it was for our generation, but not theirs.
It still is. Damn it! I'm not accepting that getting your driver's license isn't a big deal anymore. Like, I get it. Uber's great. I use it all the time. But like, do you want to be a man and stand on your own and like drive for yourself, or I don't know. Get your license.
Get your freaking license.
Get your freaking licenses. This is crazy.
So apparently we have some driver license advocates on this show.
Yeah. I'm definitely pro driver's license on this.
Like, what were the numbers again? Because we need to breathe. Yeah. It's 478. Okay, we're gonna.
Yeah, there we go. Just breathe. Take some deep breaths.
I got all distracted with Derek not seeing the Karate Kid and then these kids not having the freaking driver's license. I wanted to ask you. Yeah, it took a turn.
It did.
How long, when you are trying to relax and go to sleep at night, how long are you doing the 4-7-8?
I mean, I think the other night I felt I made it to the fourth round and crashed.
Really?
Yeah. Or sometimes, and this isn't always. Now, again, this isn't a cure-all, but I will say, like, even the other night, I just caught myself deep breathing. I was like, ooh, I'm in a very deep, slow breath. And I just kind of, like, observed this deep, slow breathing, and then gone. I was out. So that's how I'm trying to do it. Like, it was working.
That's good. That's very good.
Josh, are you the same? Does your mind just get racing and you have a hard time...
It does, yeah.
Turning the off button. Derek, are you like that? Or can you just...
Yeah, I can't just lay there without the aid of diphenhydramine and just fall asleep. There's got to be some kind of chemical inducement, or often I'll just, usually every night I'll fall asleep to a podcast, or I have a playlist of cartoons on my phone, which is one thing my car didn't do, so touche. Okay. I'll just play some cartoons and fall asleep to that. But I can't remember, honestly, the last time I just laid down in bed in the dark and fell asleep.
I'm the same way. I'm quick to frequent the Tylenol PMs when needed.
Hell yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm envious of my wife. So she can. I'm pretty positive she has a C-3PO button behind her neck or head that she just clicks it and is off. Like, we'll lay down and I'm like, really? Like, I can already tell she's in that deep. So I'm like, we just laid down. Like, how did you even do that? I'm very envious of it. I think it would be wonderful.
I think she may have narcolepsy.
No,
she doesn't.
She doesn't. She can just turn it off. She can turn her brain off like that, and she's out. It's not narcolepsy because she doesn't do it like in spontaneous moments.
Controlled narcolepsy.
It is complete controlled. It is complete controlled. She's like, well, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Good night. And bam,
I'm done
out.
today. Good night.
It's really admirable. I really do admire it. So anyway, I'm working on the breathing. Anyway, if that's any help to you, that's your tip of the week. The just breathe and try the 4-7-8 rule. Let us know how it works. Josh, another new segment on this show that I'm really excited to debut.
Yes, I am too. This segment is called Explain This Tweet. And essentially what we do is we Russian roulette style spin through the 3 of our Twitter feeds and pick one out, and someone has to explain this tweet. It's very self-explanatory. So, Derek, on May 16th, you tweeted, "Pooping in a T.J.Maxx, first time for everything." Derek, explain this tweet.
Yeah, you gotta explain. You got some splaining to do, Derek.
Well, I'd like to think that's a pretty self-explanatory tweet.
Okay, well, you got to give us the backstory.
Right. So, as you well know, I usually sleep until about noon. So when I wake up, what I often do is I go get lunch. Now, my body has operated on this strict schedule of wake up at noon, eat lunch, and then poop.
Very tight regimen, yes.
It's a very tight regimen. It's dated back since college. So I wake up. My wife says, "Hey, we have to go to T.J.Maxx." I say, "Okay, that's fine, but I have to eat lunch first because this is how my body operates." So, okay. So we go to Chick-fil-A for lunch. So I wake up and I go to Chick-fil-A. Now, we discussed on previous shows our affinity for Chick-fil-A. We've largely agreed it's one of the great fast food places. However, Chick-fil-A expedites the wake, eat, poop process in a way other fast food chains don't quite. Yeah. We're in the T.J.Maxx, and that's when I realized that this has to happen, and this has to happen now. So I was in a T.J.Maxx. It was my first time ever in a T.J.Maxx. I got to be honest, I didn't even know what they sold at T.J.Maxx. I thought it was kind of like maybe they sold bonds there or something.
Okay.
But apparently they sell.
I mean, anyone can make that mistake. I mean, bonds, cheap clothing, whatever. You know.
Yeah, like maybe war bonds or something. I don't know. So I get there and I find out it's clothing, and that's already pit of the stomach stuff right there, because shopping with a woman for clothing is about the worst thing you can do hours after waking up. And not only that, then I find out that there's a men's section in TJ Maxx, to which I said, why? I'm the only one in here. Why are they selling men's clothes? There was no men as far as the eye could see. But at that point, I realized, wait, if there's no men in here, that means the men's bathroom is empty. Not only can this happen right now, but this can happen in a big way.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, in a big way.
So I go to the bathroom, and what I found out is that TJ Maxx, I got to be real honest, and listen, they're not paying me for this. I'm not averse to taking a little kickback if they're listening. I will pull over on highways to poop at TJ Maxx henceforth. Wow. Again, largely due to the fact that there is little to no male traffic in that store.
Okay, Derek. So I gotta ask. It's a great story, and now that I know you had the bathroom all to yourself.
Yeah.
Did you go for the extra space and luxury of the handicap stall? What's your take on that?
You gotta.
I absolutely did. I absolutely did. And I mean, part of the reason,
treat yourself.
Have you guys ever done that and been
caught?
Without it? Yeah, caught.
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. Have you, Derek?
No, I've never been caught.
I have a deep-rooted fear, though, about I'm really risking it here. Some guy in a wheelchair is going to come in and need to use this, and I gotta have to wrap up quickly, prematurely. I gotta. It's a constant fear of mine.
What a rush! Blake's the bad boy of the group, pooping in the handicap stall.
What a rush!
I'm gonna get busted.
Oh man!
Oh man! We have to end on that high note or low note, depending on on your
It
perspective.
was a low note, Blake. It was
I will say, Derek, you sticking with the love for Chick-fil-A, they usually have very immaculately clean bathrooms. You should have just dumped out there.
Agreed.
Yeah, but it's usually on a bit of a delay. I would say it's a 20-minute.
Right.
Right. Okay. You couldn't force the issue. Yeah.
And I thought if we hurry up the T.J.Maxx run, then I'll be able to get home and do my business here. However, I greatly underestimated how long it takes at T.J.Maxx, which is still baffling to me why it would take so long. But nonetheless, there you have it.
Well, gentlemen, at some point, this does beg the question. Stool etiquette, and we're gonna have to dedicate a full-on show to
I've got
that.
some tips. Yeah, no, I've got some tips.
That's what they call in the business a teaser, Blake. Right there.
That is a teaser right there. So stay tuned for that. Gentlemen, we've reached the end of this episode. Josh, why don't you tell the listeners how they can participate in an upcoming show?
Oh, I would love to. You know I would. If you like what we're doing, please get involved and support the show. Visit ManthologyShow.com to become a patron. We have several levels, one for everyone. Follow us on Twitter at Manthology Show, or you can just snail mail us at men@ManthologyShow.com.
For Josh and Derek, I'm Blake. Thank you for listening to the Manthology Show. The Manthology Show. We'll talk to you soon, right here, same place, same time. We'll catch you next week.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance.